In a quiet house on Maple Street, behind a single locked door, a girl waited, scared, silent, and forgotten, until fate knocked back. Every town in America has that one street, the one everyone calls safe. Where the lawns are neat, and the neighbors smile as they pass by. For the people of Willow Creek, Ohio, that street was Maple Street. But what no one knew is that behind the blue house at number 12, something unthinkable was waiting to be found. The Bennetts were the kind of family people admired. Daniel Bennett, 43, a church deacon, a high school guidance counselor, the man who always helped others move their trash cans after collection day. Claire Bennett, 38, quiet, polite, taught art to children at the local community center. To everyone, they were the definition of small-town perfection. But the truth was far from perfect. Neighbors would sometimes notice that Daniel never let anyone into the basement. He'd say it was for storage or that he was renovating. And Claire, she never asked. She'd been married to Daniel since she was 22, and by now, she'd learned not to ask questions. Daniel wasn't violent. He didn't yell. His weapon was silence, the kind that makes your skin crawl because you never know what he's thinking. Claire lived by routines. She'd make breakfast at 7, leave for work by 8, and be home by 4. And Daniel? He'd stay late at the school most nights. But one Friday afternoon, everything started to unravel. Daniel came home earlier than usual, covered in dirt. When Claire asked what happened, he said he'd helped fix a student's flat tire. But the way he said it, slow, distant, made her uneasy. That night, she heard something. A faint knock, coming from below the floor. She froze. It wasn't the creaking pipes, she knew that sound after 10 years in that house. This was softer. Desperate. Like someone tapping through fear. The next morning, she asked Daniel, half-jokingly. "Do we have raccoons in the basement?" Daniel looked at her, and for the first time in years, she saw something dark in his eyes. He smiled, but his lips barely moved. "Don't go down there, Claire. Some doors aren't meant to be opened." That night, the town was hit by the biggest storm in a decade. Thunder shook the windows, and power went out across the neighborhood. Daniel had already left, saying he needed to check on the church. Claire lit a candle and went to the kitchen. That's when she saw it, light. A faint glow coming from beneath the basement door. Her hands trembled as she stepped closer. And then, she heard it. A voice. Weak, cracking. "Please, help me." Claire dropped the candle. She ran upstairs, grabbed her phone, but there was no signal. Outside, the storm roared. She hesitated. Then something inside her, maybe fear, maybe courage, told her to go back. She grabbed Daniel's toolbox from the garage, found a hammer, and swung at the lock. The first hit echoed through the whole house. The second one cracked the metal. The third broke it open. And what she saw changed her life forever. In the dim light of the flashlight, the room looked like a twisted prayer cell. Concrete walls. No windows. A small bed, a Bible, and chains fixed to the wall. And in the corner, a woman, pale, shaking, eyes full of terror. "Who are you?" Claire whispered. The woman's lips trembled. "My name is Amy." She looked barely alive. Her clothes torn, her voice so faint Claire could barely hear. Amy told her she'd been locked there for years. Daniel had taken her when she was 17, she used to work at the diner near the high school. He told her he was giving her a ride home. Instead, he took her here. Every day, he'd come downstairs, read Bible verses to her, say she was chosen by God. He controlled her food, her light, her sleep. And he made her call him father. Claire's body went numb. She wrapped Amy in a blanket and dialed 911 the moment the signal returned. 911, what's your emergency? My husband, he's been keeping a woman in our basement. Within 15 minutes, police cars surrounded Maple Street. Neighbors watched from porches, whispering, not yet understanding what was happening. When officers entered the house, they found the basement exactly as Claire described. They escorted Amy out, barely able to walk. Her wrists had marks from chains, and she hadn't seen daylight in years. But Daniel was gone. Detective Mark Reynolds led the case. He'd seen everything from domestic abuse to organized crime. But something about this house felt different. Men like Bennett hide in plain sight, he told his team. They wear kindness like armor. Police found Daniel's truck abandoned 2 days later near a forest 40 miles away. Inside were a half-eaten sandwich, a Bible, and a wedding photo of him and Claire. He was sitting behind the wheel, calm, almost peaceful. When they asked why he did it, he simply said, "She was my angel." The world wasn't ready for her. The trial began 6 months later. The courtroom overflowed, reporters, locals, former students. Claire sat alone in the front row, hands shaking. When the judge asked if she wanted to speak, she said softly, "I shared a house with a stranger for 16 years. I thought I was his wife. But I was just another door he kept locked." Amy testified too. Her voice was stronger now, but her eyes still carried the weight of the dark. She told the jury, "He prayed over me every morning. He said he was saving me from sin. But all he did was bury me alive." After a long silence, Daniel Bennett was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Claire sold the house. The new owners repainted it white and turned the basement into a storage room. But the neighbors said no one ever stayed there for long. Every family that moved and left within a year. They said they'd hear something late at night. A chain clinking. A soft voice whispering for help. They tore the house down 5 years later. But the legend of the Maple Street house still lingers. A reminder that monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes. They live right next door.